It's the National Day holiday in 2025. While everyone is gearing up for vacation trips, only you know the apocalypse is just around the corner. Hey everyone, a thrilling post-apocalyptic tale is here. Wishing you all wealth, beauty, and handsomeness. A little story of great luck reminds you. And action. Your eyes snap open. You're staring at the ceiling of your home, and the small floral patterned curtains. This is your bedroom at your parents' place in the county town. But the searing pain of being torn apart, and the heavy stench of decay in your nose and mouth, are still reminding you of what you just went through. You let out a blood-curdling scream, paralyzed by overwhelming terror. The faint morning light filters through the curtain gap into the bedroom. Everything feels like a dream. Your parents and younger brother hear you, and all gather around your bed. Mom holds you tightly as you tremble uncontrollably. You tremble. Did you have a nightmare? What's wrong? A nightmare? Or are you hurt somewhere? Dad assesses the situation, rushes out of the bedroom to grab the car keys, shouting, "Let's go! We're taking Xiaohua to the hospital." Your younger brother, June, lifts you from Mom's arms, hoists you onto his back, and charges for the door. Finally snapping out of the shock, you cry out for June to stop. "I'm okay. I'm fine. Put me down." Mom brings you a cup of hot water. You sit on the sofa, cradling the warm cup in both hands, trying to piece together what's happening. You remember that a week ago, a zombie virus suddenly broke out. About 1/5 of the global population suddenly turned, and without warning, started biting the living around them. Everything spiraled out of control. You were at the office, grinding away. As a junior accountant, you were in the records room, slugging through old ledgers. You heard screams and cries outside the door. Completely bewildered, you open the door, and you see the admin manager pinning the receptionist girl to the ground, frantically biting and tearing at her face. What the hell is going on? The sight was too shocking. After a second of stunned confusion, you dart back into the finance office next door. Luckily, the finance office has its own separate room. After locking the door, only you and the cashier, Xiaoxue, are left inside. You and the terrified Xiaoxue stare at each other in shock. You lock all the doors and windows. You pull down all the window blinds. There's no time for fear or crying. You quickly try to contact your family and friends. Mom and Dad's phones were still working at the time. You could only tell them to hide at home and stay safe. Later, communications went down, and you were never able to reach them again. My younger brother Xiaojun, like you, was working in H City. When his call came through, all you could hear were cries and screams in the background. Then my brother's tearful voice came through, "Sis, there's a zombie outbreak. Hide and protect yourself." After that, his phone never rang again either. After 5 days, the last of the office snacks were gone. We decided to make a run for it together. But we were in a dense office district, and the outbreak hit during work hours. There were just too many zombies gathered around. The two of us couldn't even make it out of the office park. We were knocked down and surrounded by zombies, and that's where we died. That's what happened. So I think I might have been reborn. What's the date today? You recount the memory once more. Your voice finally steadies, no longer trembling. After hearing you out, Mom looks at you with a horrified expression, her eyes already reddening. Dad frowns deeply and says quietly, "Xiaohua, did you have a nightmare? Maybe we should take you to the hospital to get checked out." Yeah, your dad probably thinks you've lost your mind. Only your brother stands there, his mouth hanging open in shock. In his clear but foolish eyes, there's still a flicker of excitement. What's going on? Whoa, sis. This is insane. A zombie apocalypse. Today is October 2nd. Weren't we supposed to drive to Qinghai today for vacation? You clearly remember October 2nd. The zombie outbreak happened on January 10th. The day I always organized the ledgers in the voucher room. In my past life, our family did drive to Qinghai. So, there are over 3 months until the outbreak. Good thing there's still time. You remember on that road trip in your past life, there was a multi-car pileup ahead. Over a dozen cars crashed into each other. It jammed the highway for 6 hours. Also, on October 2nd, a popular young actress was exposed as the mistress of a big-shot investor. The wife dragged her onto the trending list. Stuck on the road, you guys were gossiping about it. Dad was still skeptical. Then let's wait for the news. See if these things happen. Mom said, "All right. If none of this happens, we'll leave this afternoon. If it does..." Xiaojun spin in circles twice. I believe my sister. She's not the type to joke about this. I'll go make a stockpile list right now. I'm a huge fan of apocalypse prep videos. With that, he practically bounced into the study and turned on the computer. You speak up casually in the living room. Xiao Jun, your college crush, that senior, will announce her wedding date on social media today. With beautiful wedding photos too. Xiao Jun yelps, no way. You're lying. You get up and walk over to Mom. You hug her tightly. With a stuffy nose, you say, Mom, I really want your noodles with gravy. I'm so hungry. That's easy, sweetie. Just wait. I'll make it for you right now. Mom pats your head. Then she heads to the kitchen. Dad follows her into the kitchen. Let me help you. We can pack up the braised dishes from yesterday. We can take them on the road. Dad still thinks you're talking nonsense. An hour later. Everyone's stuffed to the brim. Slumped on the couch. Dad's still telling Mom to bring that red scarf. It'll look great in photos at Qinghai Lake. Suddenly, Xiao Jun gasps. He springs up from the couch. His face serious, he holds up his phone. To show you. The screen showed his social media feed. In the wedding photo, the goddess senior was smiling gently and gracefully. Everyone fell silent. It seems we don't need to wait for the news to verify what you said anymore. Sis, everything you said is true. We both got bitten to death by zombies, right? Mom suddenly hugged you. Since that's the case, we've been given a chance to save ourselves. I won't let my child get hurt again. With the reports of the massive highway pileup and the celebrity scandal trending online, everyone truly accepted the future. The things you'll have to face. Dad spoke softly. Xiaohua, I think I know what the zombies you mentioned look like. I saw a movie about them before. Then we need to start preparing now. Luckily, we still have some time. First, decide where we'll hide. Then, divide the work and cooperate. Gather all the supplies we need. After all, Xiaohua only experienced 5 days last time. How things ultimately develop later on, none of us can predict. Xiao Jun suddenly got excited. I know. Let's find a place in the suburbs, rent a huge penthouse with a terrace. Then reinforce the doors and windows, and start stockpiling. That's how they do it in a lot of apocalypse stories. But Dad shook his head disapprovingly. Mom continued. If an apocalypse really happens, a penthouse might keep the zombies out. But can it stop determined bad people? And living in a building, if the water and power get cut off later, life would be very hard for us. You agreed with Mom. Right. We need to go somewhere sparsely populated. Mom, Dad, isn't our hometown a rural mountain village? Let's go back to our hometown. Dad's eyes lit up. Xiaohua is right. We can go back to the old family home. But after society collapses, many people will have the same idea as us, fleeing back to their hometowns. After all, rural areas allow for self-sufficiency. If we stockpile supplies in advance, and then get discovered. Dad said, exchanging a look with Mom. Then they said in unison, that limestone cave. Dad's hometown is in S province, in the mountainous region. Transportation is inconvenient, development is lagging. Basically, no young people stay in the old hometown anymore. Many families have moved to the city together. The old family home is backed against a big mountain, situated halfway up the slope. Most of the villagers' houses are at the foot of the mountain. The nearest neighbor, Old Man Wang, is hundreds of meters away. The population is definitely much smaller than in the city. Most importantly, your old family home was built during your great-grandfather's time. Back then, to escape the invaders' slaughter, there was a cave in the back mountains. Great-grandfather dug a tunnel from the house to the cave. That's how your Doomsday hideout was decided. Mom then arranged for us to make a plan by dividing the work. Comrade Jiangwo, you're in charge of the renovation and infrastructure at the old house. We need to consider sustainable water and power supply. Xiaohua and I will prepare the supply list. We'll try to make it comprehensive. Xiao Jun, you're responsible for gathering all kinds of survival info and books online. You're the expert in this area. Yes, Xiao Jun is not just a fan of Doomsday videos. He's also a programmer. He's a real pro with network and information systems. Comrade Deng Jianya, your dad, is in charge of reinforcing and renovating the old house. He's also an expert. Dad first left the countryside, but with little education. He could only do manual labor. He got his commercial driver's license and started doing long-haul transport, loading and unloading. With the real estate boom a few years back, Dad went to the big city and got into construction. He slowly built his own crew, becoming a small-time contractor. Mom is Lu Tsuinhua. When you and your brother were little, she stayed with you in the hometown. She farmed the land while taking care of your grandparents and you too. After Grandpa passed, Grandma was old, in poor health, and her mind was failing. Your uncle and aunt were afraid they'd have to care for Grandma. So while your dad was away on a long haul, they rushed to split the family assets. They tricked Grandma into giving them all the family savings. They bought a house and settled down in the county town. The old, dilapidated house in the village was left to Dad. They called it leaving the ancestral property to you. So you had to take care of Grandma. Grandma was so upset by your uncle's family, she fell gravely ill. She passed away not long after. Because of this, Dad stopped having contact with your uncle. With the elders gone, Mom took you and your brother to the city to make a living. A distant relative of hers was an old Chinese medicine doctor. He kindly took you in. During the day, Mom helped sort herbs at the pharmacy, doing odd jobs. Sometimes she'd even go to the mountains to gather herbs. At night, you slept upstairs in the pharmacy. That made it easy to open early the next day. Even though Mom and Dad didn't have much schooling themselves, they both firmly believed that education was your only way out. So they gritted their teeth and put you both through college. You and your brother graduated one after the other, and got jobs. Dad's construction crew has been doing well these past few years too. Life finally started getting better. Sigh. Busy all our lives. We finally had some money to spare, and thought we'd try a road trip like everyone else. How did we end up in a doomsday scenario? Mom kept muttering under her breath, but her hands never stopped packing things up. You all decided to head back to the old hometown first, to check on the condition of the old house. Luckily, the clothes and food we'd packed for the trip could come right along with us. The drive from the county town to the old house took about 4 hours. The second half was all winding country roads, full of little side paths. Thankfully, Dad had experience driving long haul in his younger days, so his sense of direction was sharp. That's how we didn't get lost. Standing in front of the old house, looking at the overgrown courtyard, and the earthen wall with a small chunk kicked out of the southwest corner, my younger brother muttered, "Don't even need zombies for this. A few kicks from me, and this wall's coming down. Let's go in and check the tunnel first," Dad said, pushing open the creaky, groaning gate. He walked inside. We passed through the main hall, and came to the Kong bed in the master room. Dad yanked open the wooden plank on top of the Kong. A cloud of dust instantly billowed up. You and Mom quickly took 2 steps back. What came into view was a set of stone steps leading down. Dad turned on his phone's flashlight and went down first. The 3 of you followed, one after the other. At first, it was a narrow passageway, wide enough for 2 people to walk side by side. After walking for 2 or 3 minutes, the space suddenly opened up. It was a cave chamber about 50 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 13 feet high. 3 narrow passages extended out from the sides, leading to the outside of the mountain, but the passages were too narrow. Impossible for a person to get through. With these passages, air could circulate. The cave didn't feel stuffy at all. Dad took out his tools and started gesturing and taking notes, planning how to renovate it later. Mom pitched in to help too. You called your brother out of the tunnel and took him for a walk around the outside of the old house. "Sis, what are you thinking?" my brother asked, puzzled. "Our construction and stockpiling here at the old house will definitely draw attention. We can't be blind down in that tunnel. We need to know what's happening outside at all times." "You mean we should set up surveillance around here?" My brother looked around. "Exactly. We need to monitor everything within a 1-kilometer radius. When the apocalypse hits, the power and internet will definitely go out. So I was thinking you could set up a local network, so we can communicate nearby at any time, and keep the surveillance cameras running." My brother clapped his hands. "Great idea. Leave that to me." Mission accepted. For the cameras, we'll get ones with small solar panels. We'll mount the panels on treetops and hide the tiny cameras on the surrounding branches. That way, no one will spot them. While you and your brother were discussing the surveillance setup, Mom and Dad came out. Dad called you over to leave. "We'll stay in a nearby town first. Then I need to go to the village committee. If we want to start construction, there are procedures to handle." The next day, Dad went to the village committee early. You and Mom walked around the outskirts of the town. You rented a warehouse. Future supplies would be stored there first. Then you'd transport them back to the old house yourselves. Your brother stayed at the hotel. He was buying surveillance equipment and other electronic parts online, preparing to set up the local network. After a whole day of busy work, Dad was the last one back. He sat down in a chair and downed a whole big bottle of water in one go. Then he told you about today's results. First, Dad went to the village committee. He inquired about the situation with old man Wang's family next door. Their son is very successful. He moved the whole family overseas. A couple of years ago, he brought Old Man Wang over too. Dad managed to get in touch with Old Man Wang's son. Said he wanted to rent Old Man Wang's house and renovate it for them for free. House renovation videos are really popular lately, and Dad has the skills. He wants to ride that video trend to make some money. Our own old house is made of earth. To renovate it, we'd probably have to tear it down and rebuild. But the neighbor Old Man Wang's house is brick. That's much easier to work with. After hearing the reason, the other party agreed without hesitation. Facing the confusion from the three of you, Dad laughed heartily. He said renting Old Man Wang's house and renovating it for videos is just a smokescreen. Our old house will stay as it is. To outsiders, it'll look like an abandoned house. They won't think anyone's inside. That way, when no one's around, we can secretly fix up the cave. And future supply stockpiles can be disguised as construction materials being brought in. Won't raise any suspicion. When it comes to thinking things through, it's gotta be Comrade Deng Jianya. The whole family showered Dad with praise. They had him grinning from ear to ear. Dad happily said the paperwork is done now. I've also lined up the construction materials and equipment. Rent what needs renting, buy what needs buying. It's all arranged. For now, we'll all stay at Old Man Wang's house. We'll move in after the cave is fixed up. Everyone was chiming in, sharing their thoughts one after another. It was quite lively, but then Mom's face suddenly darkened. A zombie apocalypse means a lot of people will die. What about all our relatives and friends? Hearing what Mom said, everyone fell silent. Soon, Dad spoke up. I've thought about that too. Xiaohua said the outbreak happens right before the Lunar New Year. When it gets cold, construction projects all stop. I'll give them a holiday bonus, so they can all head back to their hometowns early. Villages usually stock up on extra food for the new year anyway. We can't tell them the truth, because we don't know who might suddenly turn. Besides, in an apocalypse, you can't gamble on people's hearts. You agreed. My younger brother said, yeah. In apocalypse stories, being too kind-hearted usually doesn't end well. What about my eldest uncle's family? And they probably know about the karst cave connected to the old house, Mom said slowly. About what to do with my uncle's family. No one could come to a conclusion. Even though you all don't like them. If they don't turn and manage to flee back to the village. We can't just stand by and watch them die. Right now, the top priority is to renovate the karst cave. Since you're the least valuable laborer among the four of us, Dad had you put on a show at the neighbor Grandpa Wang's house. Cutting down the overgrown weeds with a sickle. Clearing out useless junk and trash. And giving the exterior walls a fresh coat of paint. You set up your camera on a tripod nearby, making it look like you were hard at work. When no one was around, you shopped online like crazy. Pots, pans, bowls, clothes, bedding, daily necessities. Anything without an expiration date, you just bought. You picked items shipped from other provinces, placing orders with different sellers. The delivery address was always the warehouse in town. Dad rented a truck to haul in construction materials, equipment, and tools from outside. Then, under the cover of night, they were moved into the karst cave. The renovation project began. First, we tackled the water issue. There's a waterfall in the nearby mountain pass that cuts through the rock, feeding into the river below. Back when the village didn't have running water, they used pipes to draw water from the river into their yards. We cleaned out the old water pipes, dug new trenches, and laid new connecting pipes underground, channeling water directly into the karst cave. Since it's river water, we didn't dare drink it directly. For drinking, we'd still stock up on bottled water. We added a filtration and purification system midway through the river water line. That water would be for washing and cleaning. For power, we considered two methods: solar panels and a quiet generator. Installing the solar panels outside would be too conspicuous. After much consideration, we decided to install them on the roof of Uncle Wang's two-story brick house. One panel will be connected to Uncle Wang's house. The rest will be routed into the cave. Of course, we need to buy more spare solar panels, so we can replace them if they fail. We bought 2 quiet generators. The main issue is diesel fuel is hard to buy through regular channels. Dad said, we can siphon diesel from truck fuel tanks and store it in sealed, light-proof diesel drums. Since diesel is flammable and explosive, we won't stockpile too much. We'll hide it under the bed in the side room of the old house. We won't bring it into the cave. With water and power solved, everyone focused on renovating the cave. First, we used cement mortar to cover the floor and walls inside the cave, to prevent leaks, seal out moisture, and reduce dust. With limited manpower, progress was a bit slow. You joined in on the cement work, only occasionally showing your face next door at Uncle Wang's place. On October 18th, you had just come out of the old house. When you saw from a distance, at Uncle Wang's door, a man peering inside through the slightly ajar gate. As you got closer, you recognized him as your uncle, whom you hadn't seen in years. Uncle, what are you doing here? Oh my, it's Xiaohua. Your uncle was startled by your sudden voice. I heard from the villagers you were back at the old house. So I came back to take a look too. It's been so many years. Where's your dad? Oh, my dad went to talk with the developers these past few days. He's not in the village. You felt his sudden appearance was odd. After all, we hadn't been in touch for so long. Your uncle clicked his tongue twice. What are you guys messing around with? Making some renovation videos? Besides, you're not even renovating our own old house. What a waste of money. You just smiled, and didn't say anything. When they approved Grandma's burial, why didn't they say it was our old house? Seeing you weren't responding, your uncle cleared his throat and continued. Well, your cousin is getting married after the new year. You'll have to give your future sister-in-law a gift then. You need to show your appreciation. Oh, so that's what this is about. Sure. I'll definitely prepare a big red envelope for her. You agreed with a fake smile. But inside, you were rolling your eyes. By then, you should worry about whether you'll even be alive. Hearing you agree so readily, Uncle beams from ear to ear. All right then. Since your dad's not here, I'll head off first. I'll contact him about other matters later. With that, Uncle strolls down the mountain, hands behind his back. Once Uncle is out of sight, you turn and go back into the cave. You tell everyone what just happened. Mom looks furious. We haven't been in touch for years. And as soon as we meet, he asks his younger sister for a gift. How shameless can she be? Haven't we suffered enough from their bullying, open and hidden? Dad turns and guides Mom to sit down. Honey, don't be angry. After the new year, it's the apocalypse. Who's going to care about some greeting gift then? What matters is our family staying together, living safely and securely. We won't worry about anything else. Your younger brother comforts her. A few days after Uncle left the old house last time, he called Dad. After some small talk, he got to the main point. His son was getting married. As the uncle, Dad was expected to give money. He asked for 500,000 right off the bat. Uncle had done his homework. He knew Dad had made some money in recent years. 500,000 wouldn't be a problem for him. After Dad clearly refused, Uncle dropped all pretense. A torrent of foul language poured out. It made Dad's blood pressure spike. Later, Dad blocked their numbers. So Uncle and Aunt started taking turns coming up the mountain to ambush him. They wouldn't let you continue filming the renovation videos. They'd always show up suddenly, causing a lot of trouble for your construction progress. Worried they might discover something, Dad had no choice but to pretend to give in. He said the project payments hadn't come in yet. Once the payments arrive at year-end, he'd definitely pay the down payment for cousin's wedding apartment. That's how he managed to get rid of them for the time being. Dad slaps his thigh. No, we have to change the cave entrance. Elder brother's family is so unreasonable. They're always a security risk. No time like the present. First, you dig a fork at the front section of the tunnel. The new entrance is moved to the ground in the old house's woodshed. The innermost ground hides the entrance with a movable stone slab. Above the movable stone slab is a wooden cabinet. It's old and battered, without even a door. It was used to store grain in the past. Dad modifies the cabinet's bottom panel to be sliding. Only by releasing the latches on both sides can you slide the panel open to reveal the movable slab. In the woodshed, all sorts of old junk are piled up haphazardly. No one would ever guess there's a secret inside. With the new tunnel entrance finished, the old entrance under the main room's heated bed is simply filled in with cement mortar. Sealed it up tight, not a single gap. November 30th. After nearly 2 months of working overtime, the cave interior is really taking shape nicely. After the cement mortar on the inner walls dried, we added a layer of waterproof insulation. The outermost layer was fixed with eco-friendly panels, making it look cozy and tidy. The cave has a ceiling height of over 4 meters. To maximize the use of space, we installed a steel structure to divide the cave into 2 floors. The entrance area has a 5 or 6 square meter open space, making it easy to communicate between floors. The upper floor is mainly the living and resting area. From the innermost side, west to east, are my brother's room, your room, our parents' room, and the surveillance room. My brother has already set up the local network. The surveillance room has 8 display screens, each split into 4 sections. They show everything within a kilometer of the old house. The cameras even have thermal imaging. If a living person or animal enters the monitored area, the screens will sound an alarm. The alarm is also sent to your phones for a simultaneous alert. On the side wall of the surveillance room, we fixed a full pegboard. We plan to store self-defense tools here. Of course, we'll also place handy self-defense tools in every room and at corners near the first floor exits. Opposite the bedrooms and surveillance room are 2 bathrooms and an open living/activity area. Our parents originally wanted to build a dry toilet, but they anticipated the smell would be too strong, so they scrapped the idea. You had a sudden inspiration and suggested using a biodegradable toilet. Your biggest hobby is watching RV travel videos. A blogger recommended a biodegradable toilet for RVs. You just put the degrading material inside. One batch lasts one person over a month. No need to change it. The waste eventually decomposes into organic fertilizer, which can be used for growing vegetables. And this toilet completely seals in odors, which is very suitable for us. Near the open space is the open activity area. My brother has already claimed this spot. Look at the projector he set up, the Switch, PS5, gaming laptop, and piles of game cartridges. You fall into deep thought. Is he planning to survive on mental sustenance? Behind the sectional sofa is a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf. This was your request. After all, the days will be long. You can read to pass the time. The lower level has a kitchen. A section is partitioned off for indoor farming. Mainly vegetables with short growth cycles and high yield. This kind of food can't be preserved by stockpiling. Next to the farming area, Dad dug a pond to raise fish. Fish don't make noise, and the smell is minimal. We'll have fresh meat to eat later. The rest of the space is filled with rows of floor-to-ceiling shelves. That's your stockpile area. As for the entrance, you installed 2 doors. Inside is a Class C vault door, like banks use. It's blast-proof, fire-resistant, and tamper-proof. The outer one is a steel grate door. This vault door, we got it thanks to Dad's old engineering client connections. Looking at these 2 doors, you feel a great sense of security. The zombie outbreak is still about a month away. You all go into full stockpiling mode. Mom and Dad sold their house at a discount. Useful items from the house were loaded into a truck and brought back to the old home. First up for stockpiling were daily consumables. Toilet paper, towels, wipes, pads, toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap, laundry detergent, body wash, shampoo, face cream. The quantity was based on a 5-year supply for our family of 4. Dad also bought a lot of hardware supplies and tools. Later on, if you need something, you'll probably have to make it yourselves. Other less commonly used items in life. Various battery sizes, candles, lighters, solid fuel, matches, rescue rope, hand crank radio, emergency blanket, fire extinguisher, gas mask, water purification supplies were all gradually prepared. Dad also took you and your little brother to the city's used book market. We bought many books by weight. Astronomy, geography, history, philosophy, agriculture, novels, reference books. A whole wall of bookshelves packed full. Besides that, you also bought various survival guides online. Animal husbandry, farming, basic medicine, and other practical books. We'll study those slowly later. On December 8th, Mom and Dad have to go out for the day. They leave you and your brother to organize the supplies. You sort and arrange the items by category. You organize the main categories according to the shelving units. Items prone to moisture go on the middle shelves. Less frequently used items go on the top shelves. After these 2 months of physical labor, you and your brother are in much better shape than before. You two used to be weak nerds with no strength. Hey, June, I think we need to improve our fitness even more. If we run into trouble in the apocalypse, we need strength to use our weapons effectively. Your brother completely agrees. Then let's run a few laps around the mountain every day. Aim to outrun the zombies eventually. In that case, let's buy 2 more stationary bikes. The kind that can generate electricity too. Hearing this, your brother silently picks up his phone. He opens the shopping app. It's already dark. Mom and Dad just got back, carrying several large bags, big and small. You go take them. You open one to look. It's all medicine. Your brother slaps his forehead. How could I forget the most crucial thing? We haven't stockpiled any medicine. Mom laughs and says, you think we'd forget that? I'm practically an expert, you know. After all these years helping at the Chinese medicine shop, picking things up by osmosis, I'm somewhat of a connoisseur. I can tell what a prescription treats just by looking at it. And this is just a small part. I contacted our usual herb supplier and ordered a lot of Chinese medicinal herbs. We'll go pick them up in a few days. These are Western medicines we bought from a few pharmacies today. We'll visit more stores later. Stock up on more medicine. You look inside the bags. Fever reducers, anti-inflammatories, cold medicine, antidiarrheals. External wound disinfectants. Hemostatic bandages, band-aids, cough medicine, allergy medicine. Quite a variety. There are also several boxes of multivitamins. These are really good to have. Oh, right. I'll go order some adult formula milk powder, protein powder, stuff like that. And some Ensure. For our nutritional supplements. You suddenly remember something else. Today, Mom and Dad didn't just order medicinal herbs. They also went to farmers in the neighboring county and ordered over a ton of cured meats. Things like cured pork, chicken, ribs, fish, and so on. The solar panels have limited power output. You need to prioritize power for the surveillance and basic lighting. You can't run too many fridges or freezers. That's when cured goods really come in handy. Mom and Dad have barely stopped these past few days. Running around outside placing all sorts of orders. Usually going to other counties or city wholesale markets for agricultural products. To avoid running into anyone they know, and bulk purchases won't draw attention. After a week of preparation, all the basic rice and flour staples are stocked up. And there's no shortage of oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, and other seasonings. Let alone coarse grains and dried goods. The freezer is also packed full of all kinds of frozen meat. On the shelves, cases upon cases of bottled water are stacked neatly. Mom and Dad are covering the offline side, while you and your brother focus online. All sorts of instant meals and snacks, drinks, candy, chocolate, instant beverages, and so on. It's like you've created a perpetual motion machine of savory and sweet. Ordering for the warehouse like it's free. On top of that, you've also specifically bought a lot of military-style supplies with super long shelf lives. Like compressed biscuits, all kinds of fruit and meat cans, energy bars, and so on. After all that shopping, your savings are almost gone. Turns out it's still my brother, the 996 guy, the programmer, who's got deep pockets. As time goes on, you're getting more and more nervous. The fear from your past life feels like it's seeped into your bones. You've started having frequent nightmares, waking up in a panic. Xiao Che was the first to notice you weren't yourself, worried you might be sick. Always watching you, asking if you feel unwell. Because of this, your brother took the whole family to the hospital for a full checkup. Aside from some minor issues, the whole family got the green light. That night, Mom knocks on your bedroom door and comes in carrying a bowl of medicine. Sweetie, don't be afraid. We're all here with you. This time, nothing can hurt you. Now drink this calming soup while it's hot. Your brother follows her in. Yeah, sis, with your brother here, you've got nothing to be afraid of, he says, flexing his biceps. Dad brings in Mom's pillow and blanket, saying he'll let Mom sleep with you for the next few days. You look at them with teary eyes. It's so good, everyone you love is right here with you. These past couple days, Mom got the vegetable garden in order and stocked up on all kinds of vegetable seeds, fertilizer, and pesticide. Without sunlight, we'll have to rely entirely on LED grow lights. Dad and my brother went to several places to pick out some self-defense weapons, like chainsaws and riot shields, mallets, crossbows, axes, electric pig prods, long-handled knives, pepper spray, and so on. We also got several sets of GPS walkie-talkies and protective gear to use if we absolutely have to go outside. My brother also bought 2 drones. But we generally won't use these things. They're loud. And if people see them, it could expose us. January 1st. Today is New Year's Day. Your family decides to enjoy one last day of freedom before the end. You set out early and head to the amusement park in the city. Dad happily accompanies Mom onto the merry-go-round. You and your brother take tons of pictures of them. Your brother drags you onto the pirate ship and then onto the roller coaster. You let yourselves scream your lungs out. It's like you're shouting out all the pent-up stress that's been building inside you. After playing until the afternoon, you leave the park. You drive to a hot spring resort. First, you fill up at the buffet. Dad squints his eyes. Gotta say, spending money sure feels good, ha ha ha. After eating and drinking your fill, you all soak in the hot spring pools. Every pore in your body opened up. All the fatigue from these past days washes away. After the hot springs, everyone gets a full body essential oil SPA. You and Mom also get facial treatments. Today, you're completely relaxed, body and mind. In the final few days, the whole family mobilizes. Mom and Dad deliver some of our stockpiles to a few close friends and our TCM relatives' family. They just say it's early New Year's gifts. You and your brother take the family car and continue roaming pharmacies, malls, and supermarkets to restock. Mom and Dad are responsible for transporting the various packages arriving at the warehouse. Back up the mountain with a truck. On January 8th, you all go to the wholesale produce market for a final purchase of perishable vegetables and fruits. For the relatively less perishable ones, like potatoes, yams, carrots, winter melon, apples, lemons, etc., we can buy more. The ones that don't keep well, we buy in moderation. The next day, Mom and Dad go to the wholesale market again. They don't take you and your brother. They say with so much stuff piled in the cave, someone needs to stay and organize it. But you know the truth. Tomorrow is January 10th. They don't want you taking any risks. On the morning of January 10th, everyone got up early. Mom brought hot noodle soup to the table. We ate in relative silence. Everyone's face was etched with worry. A little after 10 in the morning, a scream came through the surveillance feed, followed by immense desperate cries. You all quickly gathered around the monitor. You saw on the mountain path. Old Lee, who was about to go up to chop wood, was wrestling with his son. Old Lee pinned his son to the ground and savagely gnawed and tore at him. He even ripped his intestines out. Even you, with memories from your past life, were terrified by the sight. Let alone Mom, Dad, and my little brother. They all stared blankly at the monitor, as if their breath had frozen. June turned away and started dry heaving. Dad frowned deeply. He held Mom, whose face had gone pale, muttering, "Don't be scared, don't be scared." On all the social media platforms, hashtags about zombies were trending. My brother hacked into some city street cameras. Every feed was filled with bloodshed and despair. Some TV channels were playing pre-scheduled shows. Others simply had no signal, just static snow. The national channel had a big warning message. Multiple locations report violent attacks. All citizens seek shelter in enclosed spaces immediately. Secure all doors and windows. Do not go outside. Await rescue. The apocalypse had arrived. I don't know if rescue will ever come, or how long it will take. But thankfully, our whole family is safe and together. You said slowly. My brother's eyes welled up. He nodded in agreement as you continued. From now on, we'll take shifts watching the monitors, so we can respond quickly to any threats. We all need to exercise more too. Stay in good shape. Right. We're going to survive this. We have to believe the country will end this someday. Then, everyone got busy. As if doing something could ease the anxiety in our hearts. My brother kept watch on the monitors. While the internet lasted, he gathered all kinds of information. Mom went to work in the vegetable garden. You and Dad sorted through our stockpile. We marked all the expiration dates. Made a plan to use the perishable food first. Suddenly, your younger brother yells, "Come quick." Everyone rushes to the surveillance monitor. We see on the mountain road, a black car, speeding down the road toward the old house. The car slams to a stop right at the gate. All of your hearts sink. The outbreak just started. Are we already exposed? But no one gets out of the car. We waited for about a minute, then the car starts up again. It slowly backs out the way it came. What's going on? Your younger brother wonders. The car backs up to Old Wang's house next door. The doors open. We see your uncle and his family get out. Have they been staying at Old Wang's place this whole time? Your uncle says softly. Their conversation is picked up by the hidden cameras. Your cousin, his clothes stained with blood, looks wary. He speaks urgently. Their old house is a wreck. It's empty, no one can live there. Tell them to open the door. We need to get inside and hide too. Right, they have to let us in. Your aunt says, knocking on the door. There's no response. Your uncle's family is getting anxious. I'll climb the wall. They think hiding and not answering will stop us? Your cousin says, driving the car next to Old Wang's courtyard wall. He scrambles onto the roof, planning to climb over. All three of them get into the courtyard. They start rummaging around. They find the place is truly empty. Your uncle says, they probably haven't been here filming videos lately. No one's home. Your aunt's face lights up. Perfect. This place is ours now. I checked the kitchen. There's still some food. You watch from the screen as your uncle and his family search the house. They even bring in some things from their car. They plan to settle in here. Mom says softly. Thank goodness Jangwo rented Old Wang's place back then. It's shielding us. Your eldest brother's family really came back. Why isn't our nephew's wife with them? Just as you're wondering, you hear your uncle on the monitor say, what a shame. Xiaoya couldn't escape with us. My grandson is gone too. If it weren't for our son's quick thinking, pushing Xiaoya onto that monster, our son would have. And you're still worried about a grandson? We don't even know if it was a boy or a girl in there. Auntie snapped, her brows furrowed in anger. Enough! Cousin shouted, clearly upset. Hearing this, your whole family was stunned. Exchanging glances, they really had the guts to do that. And so, Uncle's family settled in at Old Wang's place. It's been 3 days since the outbreak. Apart from the warnings looping on TV and radio, there seems to be no sign of organized rescue. The internet is flooded with cries for help. Students trapped in classrooms for 3 days without food. Single people alone at home with no food stored. The city, shrouded in darkness, surveillance shows zombies wandering everywhere. The slightest noise anywhere. And a horde swarms over, searching for fresh flesh. Mom made dinner. Stir-fried lettuce, braised chicken with chestnuts, and spicy pork stir-fry. Each person gets a bowl of seaweed egg drop soup. This cozy scene feels surreal. It seems like just an ordinary pre-apocalypse dinner. Dad called out to the surveillance room, Xiaojun. Come down and eat first. I'll watch the monitors. Over the past few days, several families in the village have driven back in a hurry. Once back in their old homes, they all stay shut inside. On the village paths, only about 10 zombies wander sporadically. Yesterday, the village chief's son and his family also rushed back. The car's noise attracted a few zombies, following from a distance. But not long after they entered their home, chaotic, piercing screams erupted. Someone must have been infected, and brought it back home. Before long, no sounds of the living could be heard. Day or night, no household makes a sound. After these days of the zombie outbreak, you all seem to have accepted the world's new reality. Life has fallen into a routine again. Besides taking shifts in the surveillance room, everyone is motivated to exercise, tending the vegetable garden and looking after little brother. They've also observed people fighting back on the monitors, and figured out the zombies' weakness. You have to hit the head to stop them. It's been 5 days since the outbreak, and still no official rescue news. You sit in front of the monitors, munching on boneless chicken feet, while staring at the screens. Spicy enough to make you gasp. Lately, besides your usual monitor duty, you've been keeping an extra eye on Uncle's family. You left some food and water for them at Old Wang's place on purpose. But it wasn't much. So, you could always hear your aunt complaining in the house through the surveillance. How are we supposed to live from now on? Today, it seems your uncle's family is about to make a move. You see your uncle and cousin rummaging around inside the house. Your uncle picks up a shovel from the yard. Your cousin is holding an axe. They put on thick clothes. Your cousin even puts a helmet on his head. Food is running dangerously low. They're going out to search for supplies. You watch them quietly slip out the courtyard gate through the surveillance. They head down the mountain path towards the foot of the hill. They didn't take the car, probably afraid of making too much noise. By switching surveillance screens, you closely follow their steps. Your uncle and the others first reach the foot of the hill, to a house right next to the intersection. Your uncle crouches down. Your cousin steps on him and climbs over the courtyard wall. Not long after, your cousin climbs back out, looking exasperated. This place has been empty for years. There's nothing in the house. Let's try the next house. You watch them break into several houses like this. And they actually find quite a bit of edible food. You can see bags of potatoes and sweet potatoes. Just as your cousin climbs onto the wall of the 5th house, he suddenly curses. His other leg, still not over, kicks frantically against the stone wall. Then he jumps down completely. Luckily, your uncle was below to catch him. Otherwise, he would have been seriously hurt. Run! Run! There's a zombie in this house. The two of them grab the food they've scavenged, and sprint back up the hill. They make it back to Old Wang's place without further incident. Auntie, beaming in the living room, says, "My son is really something. He brought back so much food." Your cousin grins. "It's nothing. I'll go search again tomorrow. The whole village is our personal pantry. Mom, go cook something. I'm starving." Watching their actions, you feel a growing sense of unease. Early the next morning, your uncle and cousin head out again, fully armed. The first house they target is Granny G's. Granny Gu lives alone in her old home. She seems to have only one daughter working away. No one has seen her return these past few days. Watching your cousin deftly climb over the wall, you feel a bit uneasy. If Granny Gu hasn't turned into a zombie, and she's home alone, you quickly call your parents over, to have them watch with you. Immediately, you hear Granny G's voice. "Who are you? What are you doing in my house? Put that down. What are you doing?" The surveillance doesn't show inside Granny G's house, but the sounds tell you exactly what's happening. Then we heard Granny Gu cry out in pain. It went quiet after just a few minutes. My cousin opened the gate from inside the courtyard. He waved my uncle in. My cousin's profile was splattered with blood. Half his shirt was soaked a bright red. They're monsters. Dad slammed his fist on the table, seething with rage. My brother looked stunned. Cousin, he killed someone? How could he dare? Such disregard. Law and order have broken down. They have no more restraints. Mom murmured, her eyes already reddening. When you first came back to the village, you met Granny Goo in the fields. She even picked some tender bok choy for you. We can't go on like this. There are still several families in the village. We can't let them keep doing evil. But if we step in, we'll expose Uncle's family. They won't let us off. You shook your head and said. Xiaojun suddenly spoke up. I have an idea. The network signal is still up. I can use a relay station to send anonymous text messages to families in the village. Warn them to be more vigilant. Watch out for people climbing walls to rob them. Dad thought for a moment. He agreed, I think that could work. It'll help everyone stay alert. And it won't easily expose us. No time like the present. My brother was already at the computer. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Even if they can prepare in advance. If a home only has the elderly or children, with no way to fight back, I'm afraid it won't help much. Uncle, they took a lot of food from Granny G's place last time. They've been lying low at home these past few days. You all slowly let your guard down. Every day on the monitors, aside from a dozen or so zombies wandering the fields, things were calm. If you didn't know the outside world through the monitors, it was like you were living in paradise. Dad tended the vegetable garden and fish pond, calling it enjoying life no matter where you are. Besides exercising, you immersed yourself in books. Sometimes you'd forget what day it was. It had been 15 days since the zombie outbreak. Your hand paused as you scrolled through Weibo. Seems like there's no internet. Xiaojun, check if we're offline. Yeah, sis. The net's down, and the village lost power. No electricity, no water. Survivors in the city are gonna have it even tougher. Xiaojun is on the first half of the night watch tonight. The sound of a small vehicle wakes you from your sleep. 2 in the morning, right when everyone's deep asleep. Guys, come look at this. Our cousin and uncle are on the move. Xiaojun shouts urgently. You see, on the monitor, cousin and uncle are fully geared up again. Clearly, they're up to no good again. Last time they broke into Granny G's house, they made quite a racket. This time, they're probably planning to move under cover of night, silently. My brother thinks about warning them again, via text message. Suddenly, it dawns on everyone. Oh no, there's no signal. Though the night is pitch black. The thermal imaging camera clearly shows the movements of Uncle and the other guy. They still check a few uninhabited yards, not much to show for it. Then they quietly approach a small 2-story brick house. It's Grandpa Hua's place. Grandpa Hua and his wife farm back in their hometown. Their granddaughter, Xiao Qian, is a left-behind child. She's about 14 or 15, living with her grandparents. This 2-story brick house was just built last year by Grandpa Hua's son, to help out the family. He just wanted the elderly and the child to live a bit better back home. Uncle and cousin work together smoothly. One gives a boost, the other climbs over. Cousin nimbly vaults into the yard. Your family watches the video feed nervously, holding your breath. Suddenly, you hear an ah, a cry of pain. Ha! Wait, that sounds like cousin's voice. What's going on? My brother asks, looking shocked. You reply, probably the text you sent earlier did the trick. They must have taken precautions. As you're saying this, you see cousin climb back over the wall. Uncle supports him as they limp away. When they get back to the Wang family house, you finally hear from the monitor what just happened. Those 2 old bastards dared to set a trap for me. I'll kill them. Cousin snarls viciously. Auntie fusses over him, going oh dear, while applying medicine to cousin's foot. Looks like he got hurt by a mousetrap or something. My uncle said with lingering fear, good thing we ran fast. Or we would have attracted all the zombies around. After all that commotion, dawn was almost breaking. Dad finally spoke up. All right, everyone, get some rest. I'll keep watch down here. They'll probably lay low for a while after getting hurt. January 30th. Today is New Year's Eve. It should have been a lively day for the whole nation. But now, everything lies in ruins. Come on, everyone, get up. Dad started calling out early in the morning. It's still New Year's, after all. Perk up, everyone. Mom had already pulled a cabbage from the small garden, and cut a bunch of chives. After the New Year's Eve dinner tonight, the whole family will make dumplings together. You and your brother, one sweeps the floor, and the other wipes the tables. The TV was playing an old sitcom as background noise. making the place feel lively and full of life. Not bad, Dad. You even prepared red paper for couplets. Hearing Xiaojuan's voice, you leaned out from the second floor opening. You saw Dad had actually written the couplets himself, and was stepping on a stool to paste them on the walls by the entrance. Dad chuckled and said, "It's New Year's. We're just going for a festive vibe." Xiaohua, you're up high. Tell me if they're straight. That's just your dad for you. He has to write the couplets himself every year, so full of himself. Mom also walked over from the kitchen with a smile. Ever since lunch was finished, Dad and Mom have been holed up in the kitchen, with all that clattering. Looks like they're going all out to make a proper feast for New Year's Eve. You and your brother each had a controller, playing Mario on the Switch. You liked the character with the hat the most. When evening came, dishes were brought to the table one by one. Sweet and sour squirrel fish, sweet and sour ribs, steamed pork, braised prawns, garlic choy sum. The whole table was filled with your favorite dishes. This is truly a luxury in the apocalypse. Dad opened a bottle of beer. Ah. We're only splurging for New Year's. Come on, Xiaojun, pull up the Spring Festival Gala. My brother found the downloaded file. As soon as the gala's music started playing, it felt just right. It's so good. Being together as a family is happiness. These past few days of eating and sleeping, you felt the layer of fat on your belly had thickened again. Just as you were sighing with emotion, you heard Mom calling you. Come here, quick, there's a car coming. You go over to look, and see a van coming down the country road near the village. The way it's driving isn't quite right, Dad says, puzzled. Yeah, people fleeing into villages usually drive like crazy. Why is this one swerving all over the place? Suddenly, the van veers out of control to one side. With a loud crash, it slams into a house by the roadside. The van's side door flies open. A man tumbles out, scrambling and falling. He's yelling for help. Then, 3 or 4 more people scramble out. Some are already covered in blood. A woman with disheveled hair lunges out after them. She's clearly a zombie now. She grabs the leg of the person in front and bites down hard. Some of the people who just got out are bitten too. Soon, they collapse on the ground, convulsing. When they get back up, they're no longer human. All this commotion attracts the zombies nearby. They rush toward the fresh blood and flesh. In the end, not a single person from that van survives. The 4 of you let out a collective sigh. These past few days, aside from a few more zombies wandering the village, everything has been quiet. It's as if no living soul remains. You keep watch on the monitors as usual, occasionally checking on your uncle's family. Ever since your cousin injured his foot last time, they've been lying low for a while. But you know, they don't have enough food. Eventually, they'll target other houses in the village. That night, you see your cousin and uncle are still awake. They're putting on thick layers of clothing. They must be planning another move. Late at night, the 2 of them sneak out again. They're carrying a small wooden ladder. This time, they don't go around climbing walls for supplies. They head straight for Grandpa's house. Your uncle places the ladder against the wall. Your cousin climbs up first. He doesn't rush in. Instead, he peers over the wall, observing for a moment. Then he signals to your uncle behind him. This time, both of them go into Grandpa's yard. You can't see what's happening inside, but the sounds of shouting and fighting reach you. You grip the mouse tightly, your heart in your throat. Run, Xiaoqian, run! Grandpa's iron gate opens. A thin figure runs out. She dashes toward the distant fields, disappearing at the edge of the camera's view. The commotion in Grandpa's house stops within minutes. Another 10 minutes or so passed. Then my cousin and uncle were seen peeking out cautiously. Seeing no zombies, they ran toward the hillside. Xiaoqian's grandparents probably didn't make it. Soon after, on the camera feed from Grandpa Wang's house, we saw my uncle and cousin enter. Both looked pleased. My aunt took my uncle's coat and asked, "So? How did it go? Why didn't you bring anything back?" My uncle said, "We saw they had a lot of supplies stored up. That cellar was full of sweet potatoes and cabbages. A whole lot." My aunt scolded, "Then why didn't you bring anything back?" My cousin chimed in, "There's a lot of stuff, but we don't have a car, so we couldn't carry much. Dad and I talked it over. We should just move in with them. Yeah, their small brick house was just renovated. The conditions are better than here, and the yard not only has vegetables planted, but also a well." My aunt listened, beaming with delight, and agreed repeatedly. My uncle added, "Too bad that girl got away. But she probably won't survive out there anyway. It's all monsters outside. What a shame. That girl was fair and clean. If we had held her down, She could have been my wife. My cousin licked his lips. They made their decision. They packed a few things overnight. And the whole family sneaked over to Grandpa's house in the dark. Early the next morning. You told your family what happened last night. Everyone was furious. Even my little brother started cursing. Dad spoke up, that family is pure evil. Leaving them alive is just asking for trouble. Maybe we should figure out a way to. You didn't say the last two words. After all, for ordinary people, killing is still too terrifying. Mom said, Xiaohua, Xiaojun. Stay out of this. Your father and I will figure something out. Don't get involved. No way. We're a family. We do everything together. My little brother replied. In the end, no one agreed, and they didn't come up with a concrete plan. Mom coaxed you to go back to sleep and catch up on rest. From that day on, you made a point to watch for Xiaoqian on the cameras. Today was my brother's turn for the night shift. You brought him some snacks to help pass the time when he got sleepy. A little after 3 a.m., you were woken up by my brother. He said Xiaoqian had appeared. When we saw him on the monitor, he seemed to be looking for something on the back hill. He was in rough shape. Most of the zombies are concentrated in the village. We haven't seen any on the hill yet. So Xiaoqian is safe for now. Mom murmurs, should we help this kid? Let him stay at Old Man Wang's place first. Everyone agrees. You and your brother get dressed. Already holding self-defense tools in your hands. Look, does Xiaoqian have a rabbit? Dad says he sees Xiaoqian holding 3 rabbits. He's heading down the hill. Where is he going? Mom voices her confusion. Brother says this doesn't feel right. Xiaoqian seems to be moving with a purpose. He's heading towards his own house. Xiaojun, go get the drone. Those bastards are still living in his house. We have to warn Xiaoqian. Hurry up and tell him. Dad says you and Mom stay home and watch the monitor. Use the walkie-talkie to notify us if anything happens. Let's go, Xiaojun. We'll go up and launch the drone. You don't say anything else. You sit with Mom in front of the monitor. Soon, your brother's voice comes over the walkie-talkie. We're in the yard now, getting ready to launch the drone. Okay, be careful. You watch as the drone slowly rises. It clears the treetops and flies towards the village down the hill. Xiaoqian quietly moves through the village paths, using the houses to cover his tracks. He heads straight for his own house. The thin young girl arrives at his iron gate. He takes out the keychain hanging from his neck and quietly pushes the gate open, slipping inside. Then he slowly approaches the front of the house and quietly opens the front door too. But Xiaoqian doesn't go further inside. Instead, he backs out of the yard. With a sharp knife in his hand, he slits the rabbits' throats. Blood sprays out. The blood from the 3 rabbits splatters at the yard entrance, creating a trail leading into the yard. Xiaoqian wants revenge. He wants to use the scent of fresh blood to lure the zombies over. You speak urgently into the walkie-talkie. Oh no, we can already see the nearest zombie, staggering over. It's only about 20 meters from the gate. Growling, the sound of its craving for fresh flesh reaches us. Xiaojun's drone has flown over the yard. Dad's voice comes through. Kid, run. The zombies are coming. Xiaoqian looks at the drone, momentarily stunned. Then the corners of his mouth curl up. He says, thank you. We saw Xiaoqian turn and run into the house. She stood on the second-floor balcony and started singing at the top of her lungs. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high. Like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. In the quiet of the night, the girl's clear voice rang out in the silence. All the zombies nearby started running toward the sound. Obviously, the uncle's family was woken up by the noise. At first, they were confused, unsure what was happening. The cousin was the first to react. He rushed to grab Xiaoqian. Xiaoqian dodged left and right. She sang even louder. Just then, over a dozen zombies scrambled into the courtyard. They charged toward the living people inside the house. Then, a series of screams erupted, echoing throughout the village. Xiaoqian was also swallowed up by the horde. After what happened last night, everyone felt heavy-hearted. You know, deep down, you all felt a bit guilty. The uncle's family got what they deserved, but with Xiaoqian gone, the whole village fell quiet again. Days passed one by one. Spring was approaching. Bzzzt. Bzzzt. Dad was tuning the radio again. Unity is strength. This strength is iron. Harder than iron, stronger than steel. Suddenly, a song came through the radio. Dad shouted excitedly. It's working! It's working! This channel has a signal. The rhythmic, powerful song was like a shot of adrenaline to your hearts. After a moment, the song abruptly stopped. Then, a broadcast voice came through. Attention, all citizens. The nation has established national centralized shelters in 6 regions: Northeast, North, Central, Southwest, Southeast, and Hainan. Please, based on your actual situation, proceed to the nearest shelter as soon as possible. While traveling to the shelters, please ensure your safety. Stay vigilant. Please believe, the nation will not abandon a single citizen. The nation will face this apocalyptic disaster together with you. We firmly believe that if we unite as one, we will overcome these hardships and rebuild our beautiful homeland. The following are the specific locations of the shelters. Listening to this voice of hope from the broadcast, tears welled up in everyone's eyes. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. The younger brother, choked up, hugged mom. Yes, finally, there's hope. The nation's strength is slowly recovering. Every day from now on will get better and better. Dad's eyes were also filled with tears. After the initial wave of excitement, everyone gradually calmed down. The closest shelter to you is the Southwest shelter. I say closest, but that's only relative. To actually get there, it's still a journey of 300 or 400 kilometers. Before the apocalypse, that distance would have been just a few hours by car. But under the current circumstances, it's an incredibly difficult journey. I think it's better for us to stay here for now. We have ample supplies at home. On the road to the shelter, all kinds of risks are uncontrollable. You suggested. True, we don't know the situation at the shelter. We have plenty of supplies. We prepared enough to last for years. After discussing it, the whole family agreed to stay put and continue to lay low. Dad paused for a moment and said, I want to share the news about the shelter with the people in the village. Whether they go or not, it's at least a glimmer of hope. All right, let's do it. Little brother brought out 2 fully charged drones. Then, you transcribed the message looping on the radio onto paper. You made over 50 copies in total. Mom stayed home to watch the monitors. Your dad and Xiaoche took the 2 drones and left the cave dwelling. They went to the courtyard of the old house. Dad kept watch around the perimeter. You and Xiao Jun each piloted a drone, flying out along the east and west sides. Following the foot of the mountain, you delivered them house by house, the papers with the shelter message. Some courtyards were empty, devoid of life. In others, villagers turned zombies wandered about. Hearing the drone sound, they stirred, reaching up to grab. And in some courtyards, survivors were hiding. Hearing the noise, they only dared peek through cracks in the windows. After delivering all the messages, you and your brother met up. About a dozen households seemed to have people. After all that effort, Story, the sun had already set. After you returned to the cave dwelling, little Story, after you returned to the cave dwelling, little brother said cheerfully, let's have hot pot. We got official news today. Story, it's a good day. It's a good day. Let's celebrate with hot pot. Yeah. Awesome. I've really been craving hot pot. Story, I've really been craving hot pot. Story, haha, a spicy, numbing broth. You chimed in, and even started humming good day. A little over half an hour later, the 4 of you gathered around the table. Little Story, the 4 of you gathered around the table, with a table full of ingredients, no worse than before the apocalypse. Little Story, the cured pork ribs, more flavorful with each chew. The cured pork ribs, more flavorful with each chew. Fresh, crisp vegetables. The spicy, salty oil dipping sauce is so flavorful. So satisfying. So full. After the meal, everyone slumps onto the sofa, chatting about this and that, talking about what the future might hold. Dad lets out a long sigh. I've been thinking about doing something more for the village. Everyone hears Dad's words, and they all turn to look at him. Dad, I'm with you. Tell us what you want to do. My brother got all excited, like he was pumped full of adrenaline. Do you think we have the ability to clear out the zombies wandering the village? After Dad brings it up, you all pause for a moment. I just think, these zombies roaming around the village are always a safety hazard. No one dares to make a sound. No one dares to go out to make a living. Mom agrees too. She says it's true, our village is pretty isolated. If we clear out the zombies, people in the village can come out to farm and make a living. Those who want to leave can band together and head for a shelter. I have an idea. As soon as I speak, everyone's eyes snap back to you. Ah, heh. You know that mountain hollow east of the village? We can use the sound from a drone to lure all the zombies over there. Then set a fire to deal with them all at once. That way, we don't have to get close. It'll be much safer. After hearing your plan, everyone's eyes light up. That could work. We'll leave the ones locked inside houses alone. They can't get out anyway. Dad also praises it, saying it's a good plan. But before we do it, I'll go clear out the weeds and small trees in that area first. We don't want to start a wildfire. Early the next morning, Mom stays behind again to help you all keep watch through the surveillance cameras. The three of you put on your protective gear, grab your tools, and head out, all bundled up. You find a relatively open hollow. Dad uses an axe to chop down the small trees. You and your brother cut the weeds. In less than a morning, you've cleared a firebreak zone. After returning to the cave dwelling at noon, you quickly eat lunch. In the afternoon, the three of you head out again. Dad suggests digging a pit in this area to prevent any zombies from being able to move and escape. So you spend another 2 days huffing and puffing, digging the pit. We were so tired, we could barely lift a finger. Finally, you fill the pit with some dry branches. Dad even pours some diesel fuel on top. The basic groundwork for the zombie cremation operation is done. That morning, my brother pilots the drone towards the foot of the mountain. On the drone hangs an old phone Mom discarded a while ago. Next to it is tied a freshly killed fish, planning to use both sound and the smell of blood to attract the zombies. When the drone reached the foot of the mountain, the preset music started blasting at full volume. The vast horizon is my love. Flowers bloom at the foot of the rolling green hills. What kind of rhythm is the coolest and most swingin'? What kind of singing brings the most joy? The rhythmic sound waves instantly caught the zombies' attention. We saw zombies quickly gathering one after another. My brother piloted the drone, leading the zombies packed in the village, around in circles. Then, he led every single one to the spot we had prepared. The zombies plunged in one after another. Dad, the diversion is complete. It's your turn now, my brother said to Dad over the walkie-talkie. Copy that, son. Dad had been lying in wait on a big tree nearby, just waiting for the zombies to be lured over. Then, Dad, holding a bow and arrow, with the arrowhead wrapped in oil-soaked cloth, lit the cloth with a lighter, and shot the arrow straight into the zombie pit. The pit had been doused with diesel fuel beforehand. It burst into flames the moment it met the fire. The burning zombies in the pit swayed mindlessly. It looked even more eerie. After the zombies in the village were cleared, 3 or 4 families drove away over the next few days. We didn't know if they were heading to a shelter or trying to find scattered relatives. Most people stayed home. Every family had land and a well, so at least they wouldn't starve. This remote village was actually safer. Days flowed by slowly. We kept listening to news from all over on the radio. City by city, with the military's cleanup, was freed from the zombie crisis. Spring gave way to summer. Summer heat faded, autumn arrived. After more than half a year of effort and fighting, news of victory came from the last fallen city. Finally, this disaster for all humanity was over. But we still had to keep striving to start a new life of post-disaster reconstruction. You looked out the window at the village gradually regaining life, your heart filled with hope for the future. Although the road ahead was still full of unknowns, with the family working together, what difficulty couldn't we overcome? In the days that followed, there was more and more good news on the radio. Shelters everywhere kept expanding, taking in more survivors. Basic living conditions gradually improved. Research teams were also working at full capacity, studying the origin of the zombie virus and a permanent solution. One noon, the family was sitting around the table eating. Dad suddenly put down his bowl and chopsticks. He said, I was thinking, what if we try to contact the surrounding villages? See if we can organize and restart some production. After all, there are too few people in our village. Mom nodded. That's a good idea. Contacting more people will give us more strength to rebuild our homes. So, in the next few days, Dad and my brother drove the car, taking some supplies with them, and set off for the surrounding villages.